Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini Navisheshwa Shunyavadi Kakachari Satarvini Namayana Nalaskitra Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatyam Vyasham Tato Jayam Narirare Nashtra Prayas Arastreshu Nitam Bhagavata Sevatya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhagavati Nashtaki. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, and unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, and unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the person of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Yad
Yad
Venam
Venam
Utpata
Utpata
Gatam
Gatam
Vidya
Vidya
Jakya
Vatya
Vajra
Svatra
Yadvinam upatagatam vidya vakya vrajra.
Yadvinam utpata kotam divya vakau vaja.
Nishpushlasta
Nishpusta
Parusha Bhagam Nirare Patam Pushlushta Parusha Bhagam Nirare Patantam
Nishpusta Bhagam Niraye Patatam
Dradvardito Jagati Patartito
Dvavardito
Jagati Putra Padam Cha Lebhi Dradvardito Jagati Putram Padam Cha Lebhi
Tatram Vakitam Jagan Putra Padam Cha Labhi
Duta Vashuni Vasudha Sakalani Yena Yadvanam Upatagatam Dvitya Vakya Vrajra. Is that right? We got lost.
We're doing the last one.
I thought we were doing the last one. I thought we were doing the last one.
I thought we did the last. Alright, let's start over.
What's the first word of that?
Yad?
What verse is that?
No, we don't have that.
279.
Where's that? Where's
At
it?
the top.
Oh, on the top? I thought
Yes,
we were doing
my
that.
dear. On the top.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
Alright.
You got that.
Yadvinam Utpatta Gatam Vidya Vakya Vrajra.
Yadvena upatagatam bija yakya praja.
Niplushta Parusha Bhagam Niraye Patantam
Nishpusta purusha bhagam niraye patam.
Dradvardito Jagati Putram Padam Cha Lebhi
Pravakito jagat putra padam chalavati.
Dukta Vashuni Vasudha Sakalani Yena.
Durga vasam vishuddha sakalam yena.
Alright, one more time. Yadvinam Utapata Gatim Dvita Vakya Vrajra.
Yadvena upata patam bija.
Nitplushta Parusha Bhagam Niraye Patamtam
Nishpusta paurusa bhagam niraye patam.
Tadvartito Jagati Putram Padam Cha Lebhi
Talavana jagat putra padam chalavite.
Dukta Vashuni Vasudha Pakalani Yena
Dugda vasam vishuddha sakaleni jena. Yadverani utpata gotani dvija vakau vrajra. Yadverani nishpushta paurusa bhaganiraye patam.
Nishpusta Paurusha Padam Niraye Patantam
Travadito jagat putra padam chalavite.
Travyarthito Jagati Putra Padam Chalibhe
Dugda vasuni vasuda sakalani jena.
Dugda Vasuni Vasuda
Sakalani
Yadvenam Utpatagatam Dijovakya Vajra
Yadvatam pada gautani vijavakani praja.
Nishplushta Paurusha Bhagam Niraye Patantam
Nishpushta paurusa bhagam niraye patantam.
Travyarthito Jagati Putra Padam Chalebe
Svayamstito jagati putra padam chalave.
Dugdha Vasuni Vasudha Sakalani Yena
Dabda Vasuni Sudha Sakalani Jena Yadvena Upatani Gotani Dvija Vakya Vrajra Nispushto Pausha Bhagan Niragya Patratam Vairotyato Jagat Putra Padam Chalabhe Dugda Vasam Vasudha Sakalam Jena
Vartito Jagati Putra Padam Chalebe Dugdha Vasuni Vasudha Sakalarniyena
Anyone else? Yat, when? Venam, unto King Vinu. Utpatagatam, going astray from the righteous path. Dvivya, of the Brahmanas. Vakya, words of cursing. Vajra, thunderbolt. Nishplushta, being burnt by. Parusha, great deeds. Bhagam, opulence. Niraye, into hell. Patantam, going down. Tratva, by delivering. Arthitaha, so being prayed for. Jagati, on the world. Putram Padam, the position of a son. Cha, as well as. Lebhi, achieved. Dugda, exploited. Vashuni, produce. Vashudha, the earth. Sakalani, all kinds of. Yena, by whom? And this is the second canto, 7th chapter, text 9 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Maharaj Venu went astray from the path of righteousness, and the Brahmanas chastised him by the thunderbolt curse. By this King Venu was burnt with his good deeds and opulence, and was en route to hell. The Lord, by his causeless mercy, descended as his son, by the name of Purtu, and delivered the condemned King Venu from hell, and exploited the earth by drawing all kinds of crops as produce. Please repeat after me. Maharaj Venu went astray from the path of righteousness. And the Brahmanas chastised him by the thunderbolt curse. By this King Venu was burnt with his good deeds and opulence, and was en route to hell. The Lord, by his causeless mercy,
The Lord, by his causeless mercy,
descended as his son,
descended as his son,
by the name of Pertu,
by the name of Ritu,
and delivered the condemned King Vino from hell, and exploited the earth by drying all kind of crops as produce. Now the purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, Ki Jai.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
According to the system of Varnashana Dharma, the pious and learned Brahmanas were the natural guardians of society. The Brahmanas, by their learned labor of love, would instruct the administrator kings how to rule the country in complete righteousness, and thus the process would go on as a perfect welfare state. The kings or the Kshatriya administrators would always consult the council of learned Brahmanas. They were never autocratic monarchs. The scriptures like the Manu Samhita and other authorized books of the great sages were guiding principles for ruling the subjects, and there was no need for less intelligent persons to manufacture a code of law in the name of democracy. The less intelligent mass of people have very little knowledge of their own welfare, and as a child has very little knowledge of its future well-being. The experienced father guides the innocent child toward the path of progress, and the childlike mass of people needs similar guidance. The standard welfare codes are already there in the Manu, Samhita, and other Vedic literatures. The learned Brahmanas would advise the king in terms of those standard books of knowledge, and with reference to the particular situation of time and place. Such Brahmanas were not paid servants of the king, and therefore they had the strength to dictate to the king on the principles of scripture. This system continued up until the time of Maharaj Chandragupta, and the Brahmana Chanakya was his unpaid prime minister. Maharaj Vina did not adhere to this principle of ruling, and he disobeyed the learned Brahmanas. The broad-minded Brahmanas were not self-interested, but looked to the interest of the complete welfare of all the subjects. They wanted to chastise King Vina for his misconduct, and so they prayed to the Almighty Lord as well as cursed the king. Long life, obedience, good reputation, righteousness, prospects of being promoted to higher planets, and blessings of great personalities are all vanquished simply by disobeying a great soul. One should strictly follow in the footsteps of the great souls. Maharaj Vina became a king undoubtedly due to his past deeds of righteousness, but because he willfully neglected the great souls, he was punished by the loss of the above-mentioned acquisitions. In the Vamana Purana, the history of Maharaj Vina and his degradation are fully described. When Maharaj Prithu heard about the hellish conditions of his father Vina, who was suffering from leprosy in the family of Avalecha, he at once brought the former king to Kurukshetra for his purification, and relieved him from all sufferings. Maharaj Prithu, the incarnation of God, descended by the prayers of the Brahmanas to restore the disorders on earth. He produced all kinds of crops, and at the time he performed the duty of a son who delivers the father from hellish conditions. The word putra means that one who delivers from hell, called put. That is a worthy son. As I read through this purport, I saw there was a bunch of different really good points that I could give a class on today. But seeing how this 7th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam is scheduled incarnations with their specific functions, I decided to give a class on King Pertu and give a brief description of his specific functions. It says in the Bhagavad Gita, Paritrena sarunam vinoshaya chatuskritam dharma santa parataya sambhavami yuge yuge. In order to deliver the pious and annihilate the miscreants, as well as re-establish the principles of religion, I advent myself again and again. Srila Prabhupada explains in his purports that there are many different incarnations of Lord Krishna, and all of them are empowered with different functions, such as Lord Shiva, Lord Ananta, and Lord Vishnu. They have the function of Brahman. There's also King Indra. He was empowered with the function, the lusty feature of the Lord. And when it came to King Maharaj Prithu, he was empowered with the function of the ruling power of Lord Krishna. He is what we call a Satyavena Avatara. Satyavana avatars descend with a specific function. The specific function of this king is stated later on in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, it's in 4:16-22. It said that he will milk the earth, which will take the form of a cow, and he will also level the surface of the globe, much like King Indra leveled mountains and hills with his thunderbolts. At the time of King Prithvi's incarnation, there was a severe shortage of food grains. So much so to the point that the citizens had actually become very skinny for want of food. When he was enthroned, the citizens went up to him with a plea. I want to go ahead and read that now. It's in Srimad Bhagavatam 4:17-12. It said, "Dear King, just as a tree with a fire burning in the hollow of the trunk gradually dries up, we are drying up due to the fire of hunger in our stomach. You are the protector of surrendered souls, and you have been appointed to give employment to us. Therefore, we have come to you for protection. You are not only a king, but you are the incarnation of God as well, indeed the king of all kings. You can give all kinds of occupational engagements, for you are the master of our livelihood. Therefore, O King of Kings, please arrange to satisfy our hunger by proper distribution of food grains. Please take care of us, lest we die for want of food." King Prithvi then went on to contemplate for a really long time as to why this could be going on. There's various reasons that the earth will stop producing grains. When he realized that the reason that the planet, the people that were suffering, when he realized that it was because the earth had stopped producing grains, he became very angry. Much like Lord Shiva does at the time of the dissolution of the planet. He took up his bow and he aimed it at Mother Earth, wanting to annihilate her. When she realized that the king wanted to kill her, she took up the shape of a cow, because cows are never supposed to be killed. She took up the shape of a cow and she began to run. She ran into outer space. She ran here and there. She ran in between the heavenly planets and the earth. When she realized that she could not outrun King Prithvi, much like we cannot outrun the cruel hands of death, she turned and surrendered to him. It says in the Bhagavad Gita, 1866, "Sarvadharman parityagna mamekam saranam vraja akam tvam sarva pape vayo mokshayishami masuchaha." Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. She then began to pray to King in full surrender. She said, "You are the supreme protector of religious principles, and you are the shelter for all the surrendered souls. I do not understand why you want to kill me. I do not understand what I have done wrong." The king, he was still very angry with her, and he was trembling at this point. He said, "You have taken your share of sacrifices, yagna, but you are not producing food grains, and for this I must kill you." She then began to pray to King Prithvi. She said, "My dear Lord, the non-devotees are using the grains meant for me, and they're not performing sacrifice. They're enjoying the production of food without performing yagna. So I have decided to reserve the food seed for the performance of sacrifice." It is said in the Bhagavad Gita 3:14, Let's see if I can find it. Here it is. Anad bhavati bhutani parjanyarana sambhakaha yagnad bhavati parjano yagnad karma samudbhava. All living bodies subsist on food grains, which are produced from rains, and rains are produced by the performance of yagna, and yagna is born of prescribed duties. Srila Prabhupada mentions in his purports that when King Purtu incarnated, he incarnated to teach the people to perform sacrifices so that they would be relieved of the distress and hunger. From this we can understand that this was in the Dwapara Yuga, because the recommended sacrifices, the recommended yagna for that age was sacrificial performances. Currently we are in the Kali Yuga. And once again, Lord Krishna admitted himself as Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, again to teach us to perform yagna in this age, which is the congregational chanting of the Mahamantra, Sankirtana Yagna. Unless people become Krishna conscious and perform sacrifices, there will continue to be scarcity and distress. Srila Prabhupada also mentions that it's a mistake to think that by applying modern machines that we can increase the production of agriculture. I mean, you can't take a tractor and go into the desert and produce grains. We can adopt all these means, but it won't work unless we perform sacrifice. Lord Krishna is also known as yagna, the performance of sacrifice. And the sacrifice, again, for this age is the congregational chanting of the Mahamantra. Planet Earth then went on to say, if you desire to relieve living entities by supplying them with grains, you can nourish them by taking milk from me. You need to arrange for a suitable calf, milking pot, and milkman. Exactly how this is done can be read in the 4th canto, 18th chapter, texts 14 to 25. Planet Earth also said, you need to level the surface of the globe. Very pleased with the words of Planet Earth, King Purtu and others who subsist on food grains went on to create different calves and milked out their various foodstuffs, symbolized as milk. The king went on to level the surface of the globe and earmark different places for residential quarters. An interesting thing that I realized when I read about this was that before King Purtu's time, there was no such things as towns, cities, and villages. People just settled wherever they thought it was convenient. But once King Purtu leveled the surface of the earth, he earmarked different areas for cities, towns, and villages. And of course, that's still going on today. There's much more about King Purtu. I was amazed at how much of the Srimad Bhagavatam is devoted to him and all the different things that he did. You can find that in the 4th cantos, chapters 20, I believe, through 23. So it was really an interesting story to read about him. But I decided to just give a brief description of who he was and what he did. Are there any comments, questions?
It's so pleasing to hear that story.
It's really a beautiful story.
To hear you tell it also, it was so nice, just so nice. Yeah.
I was hoping class wouldn't be too short today. There was still so much more that can be said about him. I believe the next chapter is about the horse sacrifice and when Indra steals his horse.
But you know what, one thing is that it said in the beginning that he descended to save Vena, his father. And I never considered that. I thought that he was coming to save the earth and the citizens.
Well, he comes for more than one purpose, as usual.
But I never thought about that he was coming to save Vena, because Vena was so awful, you know, and obviously he wasn't. Now he's Prithu's father and he's benefited from that, but that was an interesting point, that I thought he was coming to reestablish the religious principles. I didn't think about Vena at all.
That's another aspect of what he did, kind of like Prahlad Maharaj, wanted Lord Nrsimhadev to save his father.
Right.
And that's another point in the purport. Like I said, there was a few things in the purport that I could have focused on. The duty that we have to our forefathers. That's another big point. My mother passed away. It'll be 12 years Monday. And I did the Shraddha ceremony for her last year at this time. And for the first time in a long time, I have peace with the whole situation. So yes, that's another important point in the purport, is that we have a duty to our forefathers.
Yeah, the term was used putra.
Putra. Yeah. It says, let's see, where is it? It says putra means one who delivers from hell, called put. That is a worthy son.
Or daughter.
Yeah. Yes.
Was King Vena ultimately saved?
I didn't read exactly how that all happened.
What I recall what happened, the sages were turning his legs and arms.
Yes.
And by doing all that, that's how Ritu and I don't remember his wife. That's how they appeared.
Archie, yeah.
Yeah, they were like turning his body or doing something.
So he'd already passed.
Yeah,
He was dead.
Yeah.
So it's like saving him.
Wasn't there some kind of blackish?
Yeah, they turned his legs, and then a nishada, that was the personification of the sinful reactions.
Yes.
That released him from that. And then they turned his arms, because they said that he had a dark background, but he also had a good background from his father's side. So that Prithu and Archie, an expansion of the goddess of fortune, they both appeared at the same time. And then all the demigods from all over came with these amazing gifts.
Yeah, it was such an intense story.
Yeah, it's really
it really
beautiful.
was. It was
It's a
hard
really beautiful
to decide
description.
what to speak on.
Then he got a pair of slippers that you put them on, wherever you want to go, you go. It sounds like, the stories of the Arabian Nights or something.
With the magic.
Yes.
So I couldn't find, I was trying to help her with this a little bit, and I couldn't find in the fourth canto where it tells how he saved his father.
No, it was just very brief. It was just mentioned in the purport.
It may be in another Purana or something that Prabhupada describes what happened. I couldn't find it in this purport, but I couldn't find it in the fourth canto when I looked.
No, but here it says that they got rid of the sinful reaction.
No, that was his sinful reactions.
Right.
But the soul, according to the purport, turned up in a Malecha body. Something, was that it? And so he got...
It says here in the Vamana Purana, the history of Maharaj Vena and his degradation and police are described, so maybe it's in there somewhere.
So somehow, anyway, Prabhupada explained in this purport, where does it say in this purport again that you got it?
Which one?
This purport. That it was a Malecha and
It says here, when Maharaj Prithu heard about the hellish condition of his father Vena, who was suffering from leprosy in a family of Malechas, he at once brought the former king to Kurukshetra for his purification, and that relieved him of all his sufferings.
That's separate from what the Brahmanas did with his body, because the body and the soul are different. So the soul went to this new situation. The body, they had all these qualities and reactions in it. They turned.
It's a really amazing story.
It is. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Even if you read the way you just briefly mentioned how she said that the cow, Mother Earth in the form of a cow, she says everyone who subsists on food grains. And so the way that all transpires, that also is an incredible,
that is an amazing story.
and they brought someone like Brigu or Brahaspati as the cow.
I think the first one was Satyabhama.
Satyabhama?
Yes.
I don't remember that.
And then Burapasi, I don't have that canto on me.
The Brahaspati, I think.
Brahaspati. Yes.
And then, but they all getting, the sages got knowledge, and then the serpents come, and they get what
Yeah,
they
he
want.
took care of all of them,
Yeah,
you know, the demons also,
right.
and gave them what they needed to survive.
People
Not
got-
just the pious.
Right, everyone.
Yeah. Anyone else?
So, and also, the Shaktivesha avatar, it says, and I think it's in the 4th canto, that he's a jiva, but he's empowered with the administrative power of Vishnu.
Yes, the ruling power. Ruling
So
power.
he's the manifestation of the ruling power, or he's given that gift.
Yeah, he's a plenary portion.
Plenary portion.
He's not part of the Vishnu tattva. He's, I think it's Sakti tattva, is exactly what they call it.
Plenary means full.
Plenary.
Plenary means
Yeah.
full, like Vishnu is a plenary portion of Krishna full.
Mhm.
So I think,
Am I saying that right?
I don't think he's plenary if he's Shaktivesha avatar.
He's in
I
power
think it's in some
incarnation.
other book.
He's in the empowered incarnation.
Empowered.
Like the Vyasdev is the literary incarnation of the Lord.
Right?
And then Mahaspiritu is the administrative power of the Lord, like that. And
It says
sometimes
that,
he comes as Indra as well.
the Saktivesha avatars are empowered for specific purposes and to do specific things.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Right. Well, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.